So tell me about then the opportunity that you've seen in Oklahoma City then to launch this new league that you're launching, or have launched, sorry.
Yeah, so pickleball, as everyone knows, it's growing. I think the favorite quote that pickleball players like to say is it's the fastest growing sport in America. Yeah. It's all we can tell people.
It's true though, right?
It is true. Yeah. And so, man, it's, and I joke too, it's a little bit like CrossFit where once you're in it, like you're addicted to it and you love it. So I am a member of both cults. But yeah, there's, man, pickleball is growing, and I think it's a really easy entry sport. You can have a pro player play with someone that literally just grabbed a paddle and has never walked onto a court, and you can have a fun time. So that's really unique about it. So it brings people together from all walks of life, all ability levels, all ages. The number one girl in the world right now is 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
And then people always think, oh, it's senior citizens that are playing it. Yeah. But not only that, we have a senior league that's called the Champions League. So it's a 50 plus. We have senior pros. So I mean, again, it's accessible to everybody. So here in Oklahoma, I have my group that I train with. The other guy that I hit with, his name's Chris Hayworth. He's one of the top 10 singles players also in coming up in the world. I mean, he's top. He's right here. Yeah, he's top 5 on the APP tour. I'm top 10. We play mixed doubles together. So he's tennis player, converted pickleball player. So we have 2 really good pros in Oklahoma, and then we also have about 3 other players that also play pro in Oklahoma that no one knows about.
Yeah. Who are those 3?
So Chase Holderman also plays. He's a joke. He's one of the few that's a CrossFit and pickleball player.
Yeah.
So he plays pro. Cale Hammond, his first name's Brian. He's in Tulsa. And then a girl, Alex Moody, that just played her first pro tournament down in Florida at the same one that I was at. So we have 5 pro players here. And with Oklahoma, we only have 1 pro sports team. Right, which Thunder, super fun games, but there's an opportunity now for another pro sports team.
One that we actually watch, right? Because
that's fair.
Baseball and soccer and Tulsa and baseball and hockey, but no one really watches that.
Right,
so.
And there's no major.
No, one that people take notice of.
Exactly.
Sorry, the rest of Oklahoma team sports.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. I mean, we could get a football team here, so people don't cheer for Dallas. I'd be okay with that. But I think the market's there where we don't have a ton of pro venues to go watch pro athletes, and we actually have the talent here. So there was a league that was started in Arizona where they brought in the pro players from the area, and they basically put on like a showcase, and they have a team, they set up a league, and it's been incredibly successful. So instead of saying, hey, let's go to a Thunder game or let's go watch a baseball game, you're going to go watch a pro pickleball league. It's team-oriented, and so the teams still play doubles, but you have matches against each other. And it's been highly successful, and it's really entertaining. If you've never watched a doubles pickleball match, the ball moves so fast. We call them firefights when you're swinging the ball back and forth, paddle back and forth, and the ball's flying across the net. It gets pretty intense. It's more similar, the energy, I would say, to like an indoor volleyball match versus tennis. There's a lot more chirping. There's, it's the court's smaller, so the energy is pretty intense. And that model's been so successful, I thought, man, we could start that here in Oklahoma. And so we've created, myself, and I've had several other people that have helped with the project and the league, the Oklahoma Premier Pickleball League. And that is based out of Prairie Yale's. They've been gracious enough to host us.
Yeah. And you had your first event? No, the weather ruined, didn't it? Everybody
so we postponed it? Okay. Yes. So our first opening night was supposed to be last Monday, but it's this Monday, January 29th will be our opening night, and it'll be a 7-week season.
So every Monday for the next 7 weeks? Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Okay. And does it cost money to come and watch it?
It's $10. Okay. The proceeds go to the players in the league, and you get a free beer sample with it.
Yeah. And how many games will be on each night, and what's the league look like?
Yeah. So there's 4 teams. We have the Wolves, the Barracudas, the Jaguars, and the Sharks. Okay. So you can cheer for your favorite team or favorite animal. And there's 4 matches that are played each night. So each team will play. You'll see, say, the Sharks take on the Barracudas, and it'll be 2 men's doubles matches, 2 mixed doubles matches. So each team has 3 guys and 1 girl. And so if a team wins 3-1 or 4-0, you'll just watch the 4 matches. If the team split those games 2-2, we're going to have something called an Oklahoma Showdown, which is a singles match to 21 points, and every player only plays 4 points, and you rotate.
Oh, nice.
So you might have a guy matched up against a girl, a guy matched up against a guy, the two girls matched up against each other, and so that'll be kind of like the tiebreaker match.
Typically, how long does a match take?
So a single, in a tournament, a single match probably takes anywhere from 15, at most 30 minutes.
Okay.
But that's usually you play, if you're familiar with tennis, you call them sets, but we call them games in pickleball. You typically play best 2 out of 3 games to 11 points. You can only win points on your serve. Since we're doing 4 total matches, we're just going to play 1 game to 15.
Okay.
So I'd say a match against 2 teams would take about an hour to get through four games.
Yeah. What's, I mean, obviously this is kind of new venture and stuff for you guys and something that's super exciting. And, you know, I'm not surprised after listening to you talk that you've started this and been a part of something, because clearly you're very intelligent and switched on, but you also have a love for sports and competing, which is back to what you said with, you know, your dad. It was always a competition with something. You're a lot more competitive than most people, but I love that. Like, I love people who are competitive. I love that drive, and I think everybody should somehow learn how to develop that drive, even if they're just competing with themselves. Competitive people are just more fun to be around, unless you lose and you don't like to be around competitive people, but that's up to you. Where do you want this to go? Where do you want the Pickleball League to go and have this kind of, you know, sustain and you know, have a legacy, I guess, for pickleball in Oklahoma City? Yeah,
so I mean, one, bring awareness to the talent that we have here. I would love to make Oklahoma City be considered a pro pickleball hub. I think it's a great location. It's, you know, central U.S., so available to get to multiple different, you know, other destinations. But I would love to just bring awareness to the talent that we have here. Again, and get more people involved in the sport. Again, if people think it's just for seniors or it's just a silly game, have them come and watch and introduce them to the sport and say, this is fun. I could play this. And then the other aspect of it is I would love for this league, as I mentioned, you know, it's $10 a ticket. We're looking to get several sponsors. We have an apparel sponsor that's based in California, actually, so she's providing us with jerseys. We have an online store set up. Some of those proceeds also go to the league. But I would love for this league to fund the pro players that play on it, fund their pickleball careers. If it could provide some funds for them to go play several pro tournaments. And especially, again, obviously I'm biased on the female athletes, but this is an opportunity to get more females in the sport and say, hey, if you play in this league, it'll fund your ability to go try a couple pro tournaments. You might surprise yourself. It gives them that confidence to go do that. And so I'd love for that, you know, to start there, and then ultimately, again, have this be a hub, grow it, add some additional teams, and if on Monday nights, if you tell, hey, we're gonna have a boys' night out and we're gonna go watch pro pickleball, and that's what you do on Monday nights in Oklahoma City, and have it be a staple of Oklahoma City.
Yeah, why not, right? Because there's really not much that we do on Monday nights in Oklahoma City anyway. You mentioned kind of the men's and women's pickleball. Is the ratio kind of very skewed towards the men's game then, men's side?
It is. I think there's a lot more male athletes in the pickleball world. I'd say especially singles, and I really think a lot of that is because, again, singles players typically have come from tennis or are starting to. And, you know, as I mentioned, I got burnt out with tennis prior to college. I think a lot of women do tend to get burnt out. It's intense. It's tough. And I'd like to, you know, tell everyone that's listening, pickleball is not tennis, and I still love tennis. I am watching the Australian Open right now, but the pickleball community is so supportive, and man, they just create such a great atmosphere. You know, like I said, the girl I played in the finals, the one I lost to, and the one that I beat, we still message all the time. We say hi to each other at tournaments. Like, we actually are friends. Yeah. And so I think there is a little bit of that transition that Potentially maybe it's a little bit easier on the male side of the circuit. And then in general, I think this is true for all sports. It is more tough for females to get sponsorships. But I will have to say, most people that watch pickleball, they think women's doubles is the most exciting out of all of them because it's the fastest.
Yeah.
It's the most intense. So that's really where I love pickleball is you can pretty much play on an even playing field, mixed doubles, men's and women's. I think there's an opportunity there to have, all the prize money is equal pay already, which is great. Women aren't having to fight for that like they've had to do in most sports. Most televised events, they don't just televise the men, they alternate men's women's singles, which goes first, the different storylines, so it is really exciting opportunity for women. So I think it'll grow and it'll get there as the sport continues to grow.
And there's two main kind of governing bodies, right? Two main, is that right? The right word
there's
for
two
it?
There's two tours. There's the PPA and the APP.
Okay.
And again, this kind of goes with any sport. Like I compare it to golf, they have the competing tours, there's the international one, and hopefully as pickleball grows, there'll be a consensus. Eventually you will have to have one governing body, but yeah, that's it'll get there.
Yeah. Is there any kind of main differences between the two, or are they just basically just two different leagues?
There's the APP is the one that's been around a little bit longer. I am a top 10 pro in the APP. I play most of their tournaments. They've been great. I've really enjoyed theirs. The PPA, they've tend to be, I'd say, maybe a little bit flashier. Okay. They have aligned themselves with the MLP, which is the team governing body. So there's like a third entity, but they're having merger talks, issues. Some pros sign with one or the other, so you can only play one. I can still play both. So it'll get there. I mean, there's not one. Depends on how big the tournament is. One will have more prize money than the other, but again, they all vary. But it'll get there.
Yeah.